To introduce the next speaker, he joins us from Australia. So Dr. Kevin Sullivan is a graduate from the University of Queensland. He is a veterinary feedlot consultant and director of Bell Veterinary Services in the southeastern part of Queensland. Kevin has worked with small and large feedlots in Australia for the past 30 years, so he brings a wealth of experience and knowledge in that area. He's also become an international consultant with work is in countries such as Indonesia and China as well. He's also a member of PEC, a feedlot consultant veterinary group located in Kansas in the United States, where he shares his expertise with American colleagues and also is able to bring cutting-edge technology to his Australian feedlots. And somehow, he also finds time to teach a feedlot production medicine course at the University of Queensland. He is a passionate advocate for animal well-being and animal handling, and he's going to share some of his thoughts with us today. So please help me welcome, please, Dr. Kevin Sullivan.
Thanks, Sue. Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure for me to be invited here to address you today in something that I'm very passionate about and something that can make a difference to the lives of millions of animals and the lives of millions of people who work with those animals. So this has been a journey. Stick in there. Okay. This one? Here we go. Just a little bit about our business. I'm part of a company called APM Animal Health, and they're a conglomeration of about 14 different veterinary practices in rural Australia. And as a group, we look after 70% of the Australian feedlot industry and 30% of the pigs and 25% of the dairy. There's 150 veterinarians in the group, and 400 support staff makes up the APM Animal Health team. So, looking after the feedlot sector, there's ourselves at Bell Veterinary Service and two other businesses, Corindi Veterinary Services and Southern Cross down in Victoria. So our team we have three feedlot veterinarians, myself, Dr. Lockie, who's been with me for 5 years, and a new young lady with a lot of promise, young Dr. Allison. So we have 7 veterinarians in total at Bell. Bell's got 300 people in it. And we keep ourselves very busy with feedlot work and with cow-calf work, and there's the odd small animal, which is, in my case, generally a calf. So we also consult all states of Australia, and I do a little bit of, I've been fortunate enough to do some overseas work over the last 10 or 15 years. So how do I get in? That's us at Bell. So what got me interested in this was being in the feedlot sector for so long. I collect numbers, I collect data, I love numbers. And what I noticed over this 25-year period, that the death loss, one of these buttons is a red light. This is the mean death loss of all the feed yards. There's 400,000 animals in this database. Didn't really change very much. Neither did the sickness rate, neither did the cull rate. So in 25 years, from going from terramycin as our only antibiotic to Draxin, Xseed, all this fancy stuff, to having no vaccines at all, to having IBR vaccines and Mannheimia vaccines, we didn't have any impact. None. So I was pretty frustrated about this. How come we've done all this work but nothing's happened? Can we have some sound on this? So we're fortunate enough to work with these creatures, and they're amazing. They come to you, they want to be with you, they want to spend time with you, they're curious, and they reward you by performing well, by eating, and they produce some of the best food we can ever eat. And they can live anywhere. Isn't that amazing? They can live in the rainforest, they can live in the desert, they can live in this cold country, they can live anywhere and thrive. So why is confinement different? Why is it when we put them in a pen After living for 14 months beautifully in the paddock, in their last 100 days, 1.5% of them die. That should not happen. Why is confinement different? Why do some animals not eat or drink? I used to think these animals have got BRD. Look at them, they're sad, they're depressed, they must have BRD. Let's take them out and give them a shot of Draxxin. They ain't got BRD. Why does this animal not eat and drink? He doesn't eat and drink because someone bashed his horn off, and every time he stuck his head into the bunk it hurt, so he said, well, I'm not going there again because it hurts. He's prepared to starve himself to death. Some of these animals get sick and die. Why does this animal not eat and drink? I used to think this had BRD. It's because of these. These three dominate that water trough, and that animal hasn't got the confidence to go up there and say, no, bugger off, I'm going to have a drink. And so it's prepared to sit there and perish. For cattle, the change of address is a big issue. We have cattle on pasture like this. 2 days later, they're in a place like this. That's a big change of address. That's packing up your bags when you're 12 years old and heading off to boarding school 600 miles away with a whole bunch of people you've never seen before in your life. Big deal. Big deal for cattle. We've all seen this graph about the stressors. Everyone bangs on about the stressors that affect cattle health and affect the immune system. And we know them. There are physical ones, and there's nutritional ones, and there's environmental ones, and there's physiological ones, and there's psychological ones. All of these stressors impact on these animals. The physiological effects are well known. There's people out there who take blood samples and run all this stuff, and we know that dehydration is one of the biggest physiological effects. We have tissue mobilization. Muscle gets broken down in these animals. They have low blood glucose and low blood calcium, magnesium, potassium. We know all this stuff. We've got lots of stress hormones being pumped out. But consider this. These cattle you see here, these bulls here, are 3 to 5 years old. In Australia, we call these Mickey bulls. They have never been handled by anything. They come from the wild country in the Cape, and they're put in this feedlot. These things are terrified. The year before this group of cattle, 3% of these animals starved themselves to death. So we, and my friend here, Phil, we spent time with these. We spent 20 minutes with these cattle, and after 20 minutes, these animals were walking out of that pen one at a time. This year, we lost 0.5% of these animals died. They suffer from confinement anxiety. They have never been in a pen like this before. Some of them still had the ropes on their heads from when they were caught. And people couldn't get the ropes off because they wanted to kill them. We used to think these had BRD, and they end up with BRD. But they are suffering from confinement anxiety. They just don't want to be there. They hate the place. These animals suffer from relocation anxiety. Here's another example. This guy doesn't want to be there. He doesn't like where he is. He's not enjoying himself. He doesn't want to eat. He's not drinking. And they can be petrified of humans. Human is the ultimate predator. And we've got to change our attitude and not be the ultimate predator, because these animals recognize that we are the ultimate predator. Then we have the physical effects of stress, and we know these too. We have reduced rumen function. We have disruption to that rumen microbiome, and we get poor papillae development if these animals aren't eating properly and stimulating that rumen, and you end up with a rumen like this with little pimples for papillae. Not much stuff is getting absorbed through those papillae. We get injuries. Animals don't go out there and choose to injure themselves. We create these problems. That little cut there on that coronary band puts that animal in the hospital and puts that animal either in the dead pit or on a cull truck. That little injury. And we do that. We create the problem. We get toe abscesses from their handling and sole abrasions. So I pondered about what the heck do we need to do? How do we fix all these physiological things? All those things, there's so many stuff that comes up in the blood test. But when you sit down, it's really thinking, really simple. Get them to eat. Wow. Not only that, how about this? Get them to drink. Ask these animals to drink. If these animals eat well and drink well, they don't get sick. They don't get sick. So if animals trust the environment, trust the people, trust the feed bunk, trust the handlers, they will be confident. If they are confident, they will drink, they will eat, and they will rest. These are the things that sustain life. The other thing that's important is we need to lead these animals at every opportunity. Don't let them find the way. Take them to where you want them to go. They love to follow you. They want to find out for themselves. They want you to follow them. They want to follow you and have you show them what to do. And interact positively with every time you handle them. And there is a multitude of opportunities to handle these animals in a positive way. So now I want to look at some numbers. This is a case study of a 20,000 head feed yard. This feed yard buys high-risk cattle, 100% British cattle. 60% of those cattle are purchased from the sale yard. The vaccination protocol has not changed in about 10 years. And we struggle with this yard. Here's the mortality of the yard. And at this point here, at this peak, when things were really going terribly wrong, the managers said, we're going to do something different. And we're going to do some of this cattle handling stuff that you've been banging on for 20 years, Kev. Okay, let's do it. So we got some good people. We already had good people. They just needed some direction. So prior to that, for the 3 years before this, we had an average mortality of 1.3%. And then since then to today, which is 2.5 more years, and mortality is 1.03%. Nothing's changed except the way we look after those animals. If we look at the sickness rate, remarkably, 37% reduction in sickness rate. If we look at how many does this translate on a daily basis, here's our death loss per day. It declined from 3.3 a day, and today it's 2.2 a day. It's actually less than that. I spoke to the manager yesterday. The last month has been running at 1.2 per day. So even that little number is 1 head a day, 365 head for the year, almost $500,000 that went into the pocket of that feed yard just because we decided we'd look after the cattle a little better. Respiratory deaths. Someone told me once that cattle handling doesn't affect respiratory death loss. Well, I got news for them. Most of that was respiratory deaths. Didn't change the vaccination protocol. Didn't change the hospital management protocol. Sickness rates. Respiratory pools. Down by 50%. But this is the kicker. This drives the whole thing. Digestive health. Digestive pools went to nothing. Cattle eat, cattle drink, cattle rest. Hey, they don't get sick. So what did we do? What did we do? How did we achieve this? We got them to eat. We got them to drink. We wanted them to rest. We wanted them to ruminate vigorously. If we do all that, then their anxiety is reduced. And if we reduce their anxiety, they get a whole bunch of good, feel-good hormones are released. All those endorphins get released, and that immune system is upregulated and tuned up and ready to combat anything that comes its way. Everybody loves a 5-star resort. Even if you haven't been there, you know what to expect in a 5-star resort. We have expectations of a 5-star resort. People to welcome you, beautiful beds, lovely food, people who want to bring food to your room, but above all, service is what makes these places. And we have that expectations, and we have lots of endorphins released when we end up in a 5-star resort. So let's put our feed yards, let's turn them into 5-star resorts. Let's have somebody welcome these animals when they come off the truck. This guy's welcoming these animals. He's directing them. He's saying to you, welcome to the feed yard, step this way, and the cattle are saying, thank you so much for bothering to be there. Just like this guy over here. Man, don't you feel good when someone opens a car like that and says, hey, step this way? We have a word called acclimation, and we need 5-star accommodation. That means your room is made up. You're not going to go into a hotel room where the bed's not made and this, here, go and live here. The towels are all lying on the floor. Cigarettes burning in the ashtray. You're going to want a nice bed. It's made up. You want to have a room that's got some food there. The minibar's got some food in it. Same with the cattle. Have that pen prepared. Have the bedding there. Have the water trough clean. Have some food in that bunk so when those animals turn up, there is something there for them to eat. But more than that, you need to have someone to orientate you. Someone who's going to take you to your room and explain how the hotel works. This guy here, he's gone into the hotel room and he's sort of looking around saying, wow, I'm not sure if where is the minibar? Where are the towels? But there's someone there. This lady here is asking lots of questions about the hotel. Where's a place where I can look after the kids? So people are showing you and orienting you to your home for however long it might be. It's the same with these cattle we're acclimating here. These cattle, I'm showing them around the pen, taking them corner to corner, to the food, to the water. We need room service. Every 5-star resort has got great room service. Comes to your door, they're pleasant, they come and serve you with that food. How about that for room service, huh? Can't do much better than that. Beautiful oat and hay. Oh, every cow's dream. It's amazing. But nothing better than 5-star dining. Nothing is better than knowing that that restaurant is going to produce the best food you've ever had. And that it's going to be served up on time with good service and you're not waiting around for an hour and a half to get fed. And it's got to be produced by the best meal, the best ingredients, the best commodities, put together the best way, the best nutrition team. That's what makes the difference. Stockmanship is the key to all this stuff. Stockmanship is working with cattle, and cattle love people. They want to be with people. And cattle love horses, and they want to be with horses, and horses like cattle, and they want to be with the cattle, and horses like people. These three is what makes the powerful team. This respect for each other is really, really important. And so we respect that. We don't have anything in our hands. Their language isn't a stick. Their language is your body, your eyes, how you move, how you respond, is their language. We got to learn how to talk cow. And talking cow isn't yelling at them, or whistling at them, or cracking a whip at them. Talking cow is you. It's you. So when it comes to unloading trucks, wow, this is a 5-star resort that these cows are not that excited about. We need to have less of this, and we need to have more of this. With these cattle here are meandering off that truck, taking their time. The handler isn't hooting them off the truck. He's letting them come off the truck in their speed. There will be not one animal with a bruise or a sore foot down here. Every one of these animals has got a bruise and a sore foot. We need less of that and more of this. This truck here loads just as quick. It's loading as fast as it can because that's the speed the cattle want to come off. Processing. A little bit more sound for this. Everyone's got one of these guys. I want you to take note how quickly those cattle are going up that chute. We need less of that. Look at this fella down here. He brings 4 head. They still haven't got one in yet. He's getting pretty tired. He's doing this all day, this guy. This guy here, he does this all day. So he's got his forehead, no problem at all. These guys still haven't got one yet. At the same time, we've got this guy over here. He's going to sort 10 of these off and put them up a straight alley. These guys still haven't got any up there yet. This is the boss lady. She's going to fix it all. Still hasn't got one up yet. He's got 10. He's got 4. He's got none. One person working both of those facilities, 3 and 4 people working this one. This facility processes 1,200 head a day. This facility here does about 900 a day. 4 at a time. Cattle love to be led. We used to think that because we had alleyways and gates, we didn't need to lead the cattle. We just let them out of the pen and let the cattle find their way. We did that for years. It's wrong. These cattle need to be led. Leading teaches them a lot of stuff. Leading, these cattle here have just come off the truck, not 20 minutes ago, and they're going to the receival pen. Leading these cattle teaches them patience. It builds that trust for them to follow you, that they want to follow you. The handlers become their leader. It teaches the cattle patience. You wait. You don't rush past me. You wait. It teaches them respect. It also reduces fear and builds confidence that they know, oh, I just follow you. You wait for me. Now you can see how these cattle are changed. They're just coming at their own speed. No one's pushing them at the back. They're just following their friends. And this young lady here has got some pretty fizzy cattle here that she has to ask them 3 or 4 times not to push past, to be patient, to wait. And it takes only a few minutes, and these cattle learn the patience and learn to follow and learn respect. This is that same group of Herefords there going to their pen. They're just catching up, and as you can see up the front here, these ones here are going a bit quick, and they start to push back, but the handlers once again hold them up and say, no, you wait, you be patient, we'll get there. This aerial shot here shows a group of cattle that are getting moved, and you can see how pushy these cattle are. They've been in the pen, when we shifted these, they've been in the pen for about 30 days, and they had a fair bit of energy in them, and they wanted to push past. And if these people weren't at the front, these cattle would have tore around there at 35 miles an hour. But these guys are saying, no, no, you be patient, you wait, we'll lead you. There's no one at the back bringing these cattle. This little tail end Charlie here gets a little behind, and you'll see in a minute he decides he needs to catch up. Teach them to follow and be one herd. They're a herd. We want them to work as a herd. We want them to do stuff together. There he goes. Oh, damn, don't leave me behind. They soon learn to look for those leaders for leadership. And this transposes every time the people go into those pens. Lead them to their pen. These cattle are coming straight from the processing shed. They've been to the receival pen. They got led in there. They're now going to the processing shed, being processed. And these people are taking them, just 2 handlers, one at the front. We've got one at the back in this instance. And this guy will wait for these cattle to come into their home, and then he will show them where the food is, take them to the water, and wait till those animals are comfortable in their pen. It takes, in this case, for this particular set of cattle, it takes 1.5 minutes. And all those cattle are on the bunk, they're all having something to eat, they're all having something to drink, they've turned around, they look at the handlers, and then it's time for you to leave. These ones down the bottom here, these are those, that first set of receival cattle that you saw, that had just come off the truck, and young Jane here is doing the same thing. She's taking these to water. So the water trough is on the other side of the fence, and she'll lead these cattle to water. There it is there, and there's another one on this side. Plenty of water, lots of access to water. So they go have a bit of a visit, and then she'll continue to take that herd up to the bunk. And there's food in the bunk already. It's already been placed there before these cattle come to the pen. This little bit of time here is really important. 5 or 10 minutes builds the confidence. We need those cattle to be eating the first day they get there. We've got to restore that rumen function, and the only way you're going to do that is to get them to eat and drink. So this is so important that these animals are confident enough to go and eat out of that bunk. Some of these would have never seen a bunk before in their life. So it's up to the handlers to encourage those cattle to eat out of that bunk. They check out the pen, they trust the pen, and is now content with their new home. Quality feed. Cattle want, these sort of starter cattle we've just learned in the last few years need a good quality forages, 13% plus protein, and at this point for the first 3 days, no starch. But still got the energy there, but it's not coming from starch. And we look at some of these animals, how they ruminate, how vigorously they're ruminating. These cattle at the bottom of those Herefords that you saw, they've just come into their receival pen, and you can see they're already resting, they're already eating, and there's a group of them that are already having a drink. These cattle, they're content, they're resting, they're just not lying down, they're actually resting. They're drinking. So we want these animals to eat, to drink, to rest without any anxiety, without any worries, without any fear, because they feel safe in that pen. Not only do they feel safe, they are safe in that pen. So this is our ultimate goal. Receival cattle, 2 days on feed, still feeding forage, and look at the rumination of some of these animals here as we zoom in a little bit. How vigorously these animals are chewing their cud. They're right into it. That rumen is functioning. Man, that's functioning so well. These cattle are full, they're hydrated, they're content, they're confident. Their stress has been dissipated. If we achieve this, then we know that immune system is going to be competent and that the vaccines, those beautiful vaccines, are going to work properly. They've got the opportunity to work properly because the host is competent, so the vaccines will work. Any antibiotics we might want to use, any treatments we are going to give will work better because that animal is not dehydrated, because that animal's system is competent. And for these guys, this is their home. It's better than the paddock. They want to be here. This is their home.